I think
No,
the
he would be
J2's
looking
a
up
bit
the he would be looking up the side skirts of
Yeah.
the tank, and the tank would be blushing.
Come on.
Senpai.
It
No. Don't do this.
Ash and a boomerang.
I think I just gave Ash PTSD again.
The channel is now proudly sponsored by Air Models. Make sure to go check out their website and grab some quality die-cast aviation models. Bitfires, Mustangs, F4 Phantoms, and more. I get a small commission from each sale, so any bit helps support the channel, so please use the link in the description down below, or in the pinned comments. On to the video. This is the J-35 Draken, but before we get into this particularly gorgeous Delta Wing aircraft, we have to mention a couple of things. One, this is probably going to be one of my final War Thunder videos, at least for now. There will be a couple more, and I've got a couple more coming in the pipeline. And with that out the way, if you want to see other games that I do, I'll have a poll in the upper sort of section. Should I post other games on this channel, or should I go and create a completely new channel? The choice is really yours. Go vote in the poll up above. This is the J-35. The J-35 is a double Delta Wing design aircraft. It served for nearly 4 decades in Sweden's, well, principal fighter and reconnaissance aircraft needs, and it was tailored to meet Sweden's special needs as an armed neutral country, which it did through its unique design features and its rugged construction, and it is one hell of a good looker. I can say War Thunder has done a fantastic job with the model on this one. Now, it was designed and built by Saab. First flight was October 25th, 1955. A crew of 1, and there was also a 2-seater version, which was a trainer. They built 644 of these, and one specific version, which used a licensed built Rolls-Royce Avon turbojet engine. Now, that was specific to the J-35F, which we don't have in War Thunder. It was flown by a number of nations: Sweden, Austria, Denmark, Finland, and a smaller couple of countries. It was built for operations on reinforced public roads, could be refueled by and rearmed by conscripts in less than 10 minutes. It exceeded Mach 1 accidentally on its first flight in afterburner, so that's an interesting fact. And, well, obtained an emergency power from an under-nose ram turbine, which currently is not modelled in-game. Now, it used drag chutes to reduce landing distances. It was able to sustain 10G turning force, although in War Thunder you can go up to about 13 if you're lucky. And it was, well, suffered from the super stall, for which a specific recovery techniques were taught, and zoomed from takeoff to 33,000 feet in just 4 minutes. In War Thunder, it's a particularly difficult aircraft to fly. I do like it, I've had fun playing the aircraft. I'm not particularly good with the guns, and I highly recommend you check out another content creator called Whoop-De-Doo for some insane kills where he, just does amazing things in this aircraft. I've only managed to do the super stall thing a couple of times. It is particularly precarious. The flight model is relatively as I expected. However, this is not DCS. If you're expecting that, go fly this particular aircraft in its equivalent DCS model. And with that out the way, there is no armor protection in the vehicle. Their guns are sort of on the outer board of the Delta Wing design, which means the spread is kind of all over the place. They're a bit like shotguns. 30mm, well, the guns in here are equivalent to Aiden's, and obviously it gets access to the Swedish missiles that you do get on the J-32B. I have wasted enough of your time already, so there is a bunch of other armament presets, but they're not necessarily interesting at all. So let's get into some gameplay, shall we? So, first match in the Draken. Definitely a mobile aircraft. I'm not quite used to it yet. We've spotted a stalling lightning. That's prime pickings, I think. Didn't necessarily need to waste the missile on him, but we got the kill regardless. Anyway, in the same match, we're flying around. We're just sort of avoiding some of the enemies. And I go into a negative roll. As you can see, not exactly the best maneuver to pull. Pulling negative G's in this thing, and then inverting tends to end in your aircraft, well, wing overload crash, as it says up the top there. Fortunately, Zataris was on the enemy team, so I did him a disservice, especially considering I should be a better pilot than that. Regardless, we did recover this aircraft, only for it to randomly spaz out and do that magical thing that I mentioned earlier with the random sort of stall. As you can see, you can't recover from that one. straight into the ground we go. Alright, next clip. This one was particularly interesting only for a couple of reasons. Just wanted to show you this one. Mainly because this crazy MiG just decided that he would just fly upside down for no apparent reason. In the same match, we're exercising something called Situational Awareness. I'm chasing this F4E just directly up ahead of me. We're going to go into sort of a bit of a dive directly after him, and it's important you take note of that hunter to my left. How did I not know this was going to happen? 3, 2, 1, and... You know what? More situational awareness is needed there. I have to point out that this cockpit is absolutely stellar. It is gorgeous. Dead drop gorgeous. And while everyone's worrying about quarantine, if I could quarantine myself inside one of these things and have enough legroom, it'd be perfect. Anyway, I'm going to pause and head straight over to the live commentary here. You can see the guns are a bit annoying. Mind you, I need to work on my aim too. So he's just going to cancel roll. He's just going to cancel roll. We can cancel roll too, but not for very long. Yeah. Come on, come on, come on. Hit him, hit him, hit him. Gotcha! Alright, that's one down. You'd never fly straight. Given that guy's locking missiles on me right now. Alright, roll over. Let's cook another missile. One away. Make him turn, make him bleed all his speed. Fantastic. We can fight with him with guns now. Come on. Lead a little more. Critical hit. Come on. Wing-mounted guns are a pain. There we go. We got him finally. We've got 24 rounds left. That's 2 air kills. Not bad. Not great. This is very much a situational fighter. It's sort of midline, and I quite like it. Anyway, let's jump into an actual match. This is a fantastic aircraft. Just sort of scouting out the possibilities for aircraft. And God, I like this thing so much. Have I mentioned that I like this thing? It's definitely a fantastic aircraft, but we'll have to sort of see. This match should hopefully tide you over. It's one of those sort of support fighters. Anyway, F4C has been spotted. We're going to turn in on him if we can get the beat on him. But we are overlocking at the moment. You know, just take off the afterburner a little bit. Your aircraft will slow down a little bit, allowing you to turn in a little tighter. Activate the afterburner again and let's chase our F4. Just clear our 6 because that is an important thing to do here. These jet matches move particularly fast at top tier. Unlike prop matches where things can happen in seconds, in props it can happen in about a minute. Anyway, we've locked on. First missile. There we go. Aircraft destroyed. That is the first kill. And that friendly MiG-21 nearly wipes us off the map. It was unfortunate that he didn't necessarily quite make the cut, but that's okay. We're going to continue climbing, and this thing is a fantastic boom and zoomer. It's one of those aircraft that does really well at a multitude of different roles. It has incredibly low speed maneuverability. It is an utter turn fighter, but it can also do incredibly high speed maneuvers, and it's something that I guess is needed in a way. It is a little heavy in some aspects. Speaking of heavy in aspects, we're going to try and turn around, get away from this FJ4 here. Not FJ4, F4EJ. Goodness me, that's a tongue twister and a half. Most of the teams, however, are just F4 Phantoms. While that's necessarily not a bad thing, it can get quite annoying when you see the odd Lightning or the odd F2, or sometimes the odd Draken, because there's no real diversity. It's just all Lightnings versus Lightnings. I reckon that plays into a big sort of, I guess, ideal here, that War Thunder isn't diverse enough. Whether you agree with the addition of the F4 or not, it's an interesting aircraft. And I think the Draken is just a little more special in a way. Fired first missile on this F4 that's come surprisingly out of nowhere. We're going to fire the guns, hopefully get a critical hit. There we are, fantastic. We've set him on fire. We can pull off. Hopefully none of the friendlies go and steal the kill like they would usually do. Anyway, I have no idea why I am not checking my 6. I'm still checking the aircraft that I have clearly critically damaged. He's suffering quite heavily. Finally checking my 6. Waiting for the aircraft to be absolutely demolished. There it is, damage to elevator. Any second now he's going to be gone. pulling 8 Gs and turning around. There's another F4 down low. That MiG-21 is chasing him. That's alright, we'll leave him down there for now. Actually, no we won't. I changed my mind. I'm going to hit this FJ where it really hurts. He's in a massive turn. He's bled a lot of speed. There's another F4 he's trying to out-maneuver. Unfortunately, he can't out-maneuver this thing. Cooked a missile. We're off the afterburner just for a bit of safety. That's okay. We don't need the missile. We'll just rip his wing off. Anyway, friendly MiG-21's pulling around and trying to avoid that missile. Thankfully, he does. My goodness me, that is a lot of action. That is our second kill for the match. Actually, no, it's our third kill for the match. I can't count. But anyway, as I said, lots of things can happen in these jet matches. And again, we're going to go climb up, we're going to retain our energy, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about this particular aircraft. Now, it was a radical concept tested on the first flight in 1952. There were 3 prototypes initially built, and production entered service in 1958. The single-seat interceptor was highly maneuverable, with the top speed exceeding Mach 2. 8 versions of the Draken were built, each offering improvements in performance and equipment. All Swedish Drakens were interceptors with limited air-to-ground capability, though they were measured as effective supersonic Cold War fighters. Speaking of Cold War fighters, there is the FGR-2, the last guy on the team. He's getting chased down by an F4. This is just F4 versus F4 at this point in time. Although, I think the British one is a little bit better. Just saying. It doesn't necessarily matter. The FJ4, the F4EJ, goodness me, I can never get that right, has all the DACA in the world, whereas the British version necessarily doesn't. Now, I could have got my shots off here and actually killed the guy, but nevertheless, I'm a potato aim, and I will get good eventually, trying not to rip the aircraft to shreds, as this thing tries to do. It tries to actively kill you. Roll back over, see that the guy has done a loop back around. He's trying to escape, he's trying to get some speed, and we just nail him a new one. There he goes, on the cross you go. That is the 4th kill. So again, the guns feel a little bit like shotguns. They're not exactly the greatest, but again, that's probably just me as a pilot. Again, I highly recommend that you go and watch Whoopi do. It's got a lot more interesting rolls, inverse loops, and scissor maneuvers, where he's actually made this thing relatively successful, although he did say it had a particularly annoying death rate in it, and it is more suited for a support fighter role. Now, just watch this friendly as he also launches a missile at me right as the game ends. There it goes, missile is launched. Wait for the missile to get close, and then we're just going to pull a Cobra. Why not? That is something fantastic to do. On to the results, why don't we? Obviously, I haven't suffered with this aircraft in its stock configuration. What I really need to do is revisit this aircraft in its complete stock form, stock ammo, no missiles, and no modifications or upgrades, and put it in a default crew. And see how the experience goes. I've heard it's particularly precarious. Otherwise, we're unlocking the J29, 65,000 research points. Sorry, Silver Lines, 65,000 research points, I wish. 10,000 modification, and I think it was like 9,000 towards our other vehicle. That's okay. It doesn't necessarily matter, but that is the J35D. Don't forget to vote in the poll in the cards whether I put other games on another channel or whether I continue to put up whatever on this channel. Is there really anything else to say? Oh yes, thank you very much to the patrons for supporting and funding my aviation-fueled addictions. And with that, I pleasantly wish you a goodbye. Catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.